Hello and welcome to another video where I am going to be collabing with Laumé from Coca Fina to show you our ideal Mooncat collections. So if you aren't familiar with Laumé, she is a super funny creator who does nail polish content on YouTube as well as Instagram. I highly recommend checking out her channel because she has so much good nail polish content, and she approached this topic in a really different way than I did, and so I'm excited for you to see her take on a great Mooncat collection. So for my take on this prompt, I first decided to start by going to Mooncat's website to look at all of their different collections and look for like trends and what stuck out to me. The first thing that I noticed is that they kind of have a mix of some really soft, dainty aesthetics, but then they also have some collections that are really vampy and grungy, and I feel like they're kind of known for being an edgier brand overall. One collection that really stood out to me was the Lost in a Folktale collection. It seems like Mooncat overall really pulls a lot of inspiration from myths and folktales, and so I wanted to do a kind of part 2 to that collection, but make it the dark, edgy version. And so, without further ado, I introduce you to the Deep in the Woods of Yore collection. So if you want to see my attempt at a Mooncat collection, then go ahead and just keep on watching and subscribe. The first shade that we are starting with, I am calling Forest Fog. But really, this is the Night Owl Lacquer shade Necessary Weevil from Polish Pickup. It has a very sheer gray base with a ton of multicolor iridescent flakies. I created a mood board for this collection, and so I'll pop up a few of the inspiration photos on the screen for you. This shade reminds me of like a deep, misty fog in the heart of the forest, and you're not quite sure where it's coming from, but there's something almost magical to it. And I really liked this shade because I feel like in that original Folktale collection, there were quite a few flaky bombs, and Mooncat has gotten away from those, but in my heart, I am in love with flakies. So I wanted to include one in this collection, and I thought that this would work well for one of the other shades, which is a cream thermal polish. Here you can see it over that thermal, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that shade in a bit. Though this does have a base and can look tinted when you have it built up in 3 coats, on one coat it really doesn't affect the base color underneath, which I'm hoping you can see by me showing you that you can see the thermal states with this as a topper on top of that other polish. And of course, what would a Mooncat collection be without at least one thermal, which seems like a staple in every collection since they introduced the formula. And I'm calling this thermal Shade Murk Bog, which is a reference for all of my D&D homies, but it also is known as the shade Saltwater Dreams from Fancy Gloss, which, if you don't know, is a great brand for affordable thermal polishes. If you, like me, enjoy this formula, I really recommend you check them out. This thermal in particular is a cream that goes from what I would describe as a black and teal to a khaki green, and I feel like it doesn't get more deep in the woods of yore than this. Our next and final thermal for this collection is what I am calling Deadwood, based on decaying wood on the forest floor that was once green and vibrant and then becomes dark and twisted. So you can kind of see based on the transitions why the shade might be called Deadwood. In practice, it's actually twisted Terracotta Tanzanite from Sassy sauce polish. It goes from a kind of tea green to a rusty red with a green to blue to almost a touch purple shimmer within it. This one I think is a pretty classic kind of thermal shift in the nail polish world, but I would love to see Moon Polish's take on it, even if, let's be real, it's super overpriced. Another finish that Mooncat has been leaning into really heavily recently are magnetics. And this magnetic I would call Nightshade. Is that because I recently finished rereading The Hunger Games? Maybe. Or maybe it just looks like a deadly poison. Either way, this shade is actually Toxic Sludge from Clionadh, and it is beautiful. It is a magnetic multichrome with a purple to pink to gold to green base that has a magnetic pole that is a green to blue to teal kind of color. I've shown it magnetized a few different ways in this footage, and I'm hoping you can see how dimensional it is. This next shade is called Shadow Court, and it is a blackened forest green jelly base with a fine purple, pink, red to orange shimmer. This one is actually the shade See You Space Cowboy from Ethereal Lacquer. It's originally themed off of the anime Cowboy Bebop, and it matches that inspiration perfectly, but I also thought it worked really well for this just because of how deep and vampy it is, and Mooncat loves to do these type of dark shimmers, so it just felt like a really good fit for the brand too. I'm calling this next shade Witch's Brew, although it's actually Slime of the Swamp from Night Owl Lacquer. It looks like an unassuming olive green base with a green to red shift, but what makes this special is that it glows in the dark, although unfortunately I don't have footage of that, and this feels like a good fit since Mooncat loves a good glow in the dark. This polish is a multi-chrome that goes from an orangey gold green to a touch of blue, and I'm calling it Forager, although it's actually, oh look, it's Scowly Face from ILNP Designs. For those that don't know, ILNP Designs does a sale on their site every month where you can get polishes for half off 1 week during the month. So if you're looking for a way to build out your polish collection, this is a brand that can be a really good first stop if you're looking for some really cool shades. This shade is going to be called Leaf Litter, although it's actually Autumn from ILNP. It has a brown base with a ton of microflakies going from red to orange to gold. I'd want it to have a similar formula to Space Oddity. This last shade may seem like the outlier, but honestly, I had so many different photos and art pieces in my mood board that matched this aesthetic. I would call this shade Lanterns at Dusk. It's a flaky balm in a cobalt blue jelly base with large blue iridescent flakes and metallic orange to gold to green flakies. I know that some folks may be thinking that this would look too similar to House of Hades, but I do have them here so you can see the difference. This one is brighter in the base and has those color contrasting flakies, and I feel like overall they look quite different on these two swatch sticks. This shade is actually Sonic and Tails by Cuticula, but it actually was a Polished Gamers box exclusive, so unfortunately you can't pick it up. I hope that you really enjoyed my take on a Mooncat collection. Let me know if Mooncat came out with the Deep in the Woods of Yore collection. Would you pick up any of these shades? Also, be sure to let me know what kind of collection would you want to see from Mooncat. Lastly, be sure to check out Laumé's channel, Coca Faina, and sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. She is, again, such an awesome creator, and I know that if you enjoy my very infrequent content, then you'll enjoy hers too. I have been working all summer long on what I think is going to be about a 2-hour video swatching over 100 shades from ILNP. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe. And until I see you next time, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy. Bye!